How is everybody doing tonight? Episode 8 at Married at First Sight. We're getting pretty deep into the season, even though only 2 weeks have gone by in the marriages. 8 episodes in is pretty damn deep. So, let's call this the halfway point of the season. I want everybody to let me know which couples they think are going to make it, which couples have surprised them, which have disappointed them, and what are your overall thoughts on this season? Leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation. And with that said, let's get into tonight's episode. To me, our two really the two couples I probably want to talk about most are Zack and Michaela and Johnny and Bao. Just because Zack and Michaela missed half this season, let's start with them. This relationship, seemed so strong at the start and then has just been an absolute roller coaster ever since. And, we've hit a point where all of a sudden I'm really struggling to see them finding a way to work things out. It just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. We can already see Zack pulling back, Zack pulling out of the relationship. And it's very unfortunate because it's right at a point where Michaela's, realizing that she made a mistake, that she was wrong and wants to correct things. And it might already be too late for that. And, I'm interested to see what the fallout from tonight's episode actually is for them. So, we started off with Michaela opting out of the housewarming. And then later on, her changing her mind and deciding like, no, we're going to have the housewarming after all. And then we get to the actual housewarming party and everyone there felt like they were mediators for their relationship, that they were, not trying to facilitate them getting to know each other better. Like they were there to try to resolve the dispute that had already happened. And it had a totally different vibe than any other housewarming out of all the other couples. And then afterwards, we get that moment. And really, this was, to me, was their moment for the show. And it was Zack speaking up about how he feels, how he felt at the party, and him not wanting to spend the night with her, which I think is going to be very, very damaging for their relationship. It was right on the heels of Michaela actually starting to, change, felt like she was changing her attitude a little bit, which may just be another part of this roller coaster that they've been on. That she was starting to feel more comfortable with everything that had happened and everything moving forward. And then all of a sudden, Zack opened up about how, he wasn't happy, really didn't like everything that had happened before, didn't like how the party got canceled, the party got started back up. And oh, wow. I just want to see what happens next. Like if I could just fast forward and just see what's going to happen to Zack and Michaela and next week, I'd be very, very happy. Let's not dwell on them too much. Let's jump over to Johnny and Bao. I had so much hope for Zack and Michaela and Johnny and Bao. I had so much hope for those two couples starting the season. And that hope is fading away. There is still a shred of hope clinging there for Johnny and Bao, but like some of Johnny's behavior just it's a little disgusting. Let's not mince words on it. And I just don't know, like if you were sitting there and your partner was saying like how they're not attracted to you, and stuff about how in other relationships they would have left by now, why would you want to stay in that relationship? Why would you want to put the effort into that relationship? Very, very awkward, even just watching it. I can't even imagine what it's like for Bao to go through it. One thing we saw early on in the episode, I think it was part of like the boys getting together, and it was Johnny bringing up ending up in the friend zone. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, dude, you put yourself in the friend zone. Johnny, you're the creator of your own friend zone, so don't complain about it, because it's exactly what you created. And then after that, we really saw Johnny start to spiral a little bit. He's not just wondering about what's not working in their relationship. He starts thinking about what's wrong with him, that he can't commit to this relationship. And some of that was a little hard to watch. He's kind of breaking down in his little interview, but thankfully Jose came in, gave him that hug he needed. And out of all of this, one thing that I've really have appreciated about Johnny is that he can open up, not even just to the group of guys, to the diary room cameras, but to Bao as well. Even though some of those conversations they're just not what you want to hear. Like, especially if you're Bao, yeah, I said it before, like, it makes me uncomfortable. I can't even imagine what emotions are going through Bao's head, but she's still pushing forward. She still wants things to work. And, at the end of this episode, she's still kind of viewing their relationship in a positive light. So, that does give me that little bit of hope, but Johnny has just been taping on red flags all over his body the last few weeks. And someone needs to tell Johnny that decision day is 6 weeks away. Decision day isn't right now. Like, he doesn't have to have his mind up. That is why we do the show. That is why we have a day called decision day. You don't have to make your decision on week 2. You don't have to make your decision week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, you make it on decision day. Just feels like Johnny is doing his best to ruin this relationship right now, and Bao is just kind of riding the wave to get to the end here. Next up, let's jump over to Myrla and Gil. One thing I've noticed about Gil is he likes stirring the pot. When you look at him with the guys, he's the one that's kind of pushing the conversations that the other guys don't want to have. He's the one who's kind of digging for more details on things that maybe you don't need to dig for details about. And even his behavior around Myrla, he's often, taking those little shots at Myrla, bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up. That's just him really just stirring the pot. They jumped back into finances again. They also touched on it last week. They took a peek at each other's bank accounts, and shockingly we learned that Myrla has more in her bank account than Gil. This whole lifestyle thing is total BS to me. There does not have to be a compromise between lifestyles. Myrla can 100% keep buying her shoes, 100% keep buying her dresses, 100% keep pampering herself, and that is because she can afford to. You looked at her bank account, man. She's not racking up her credit card. She's got savings. She can fully afford her lifestyle, and she doesn't have to compromise that at all. Now, long term, yeah, she's probably going to have to make some lifestyle changes, but those aren't things that are going to be forced on her. Those are decisions that she is going to be able to make herself. All this talk about compromise, you got to make a compromise. When it comes to finances, it is often just not something you have to compromise on. If you had really, really terrible habits, unsustainable habits, that's something that would have to change whether you were single or in a relationship. And vice versa, if you have good habits, that is not something that needs to go away when you're single or in a relationship. I just don't buy the whole compromise thing when it comes to finances, because they're both adults. They can both fully afford their lifestyles, and to maintain those lifestyles and live in the same house together is totally doable in my opinion. My highlight for Myrla and Gil was the conversation with with Gil's mom. I just really thought it actually made them look like a couple. It wasn't just two people who were kind of living together. Like for that moment, they really felt like a couple to me. And I know that the affection is not there yet. And we got further proof that Myrla is very, very, very slow and does not like PDA at all whatsoever. So like Gil, I think you're going to be waiting a while yet for that first kiss, but I do feel like you are making progress in that direction. And on top of it, we really got some indications that Myrla is into this relationship. You know, she's liking Gil, she's liking being married, and overall, they're not, even though they haven't kissed, they're actually doing pretty well, which, considering what my thoughts were about Myrla at the start of the season, I never thought that I would be saying. All right, let's jump over to our fourth couple, Jose and Rachel. I'm starting to get a slight indication that Jose might be slightly particular. You know, he likes his things the way he likes his things, and you know what, that's okay. And really, for most of it, it seems like Rachel is okay with that. They brought up the separate accounts again. This is going to be an ongoing issue for this couple all season long. And I'm going to tell you guys something right now. My wife and I do not share an account. We have been married for 4 years. It's never come up. It's never even been something that we discussed. We pay all our bills. We kind of split the bills between us. If money has to be sent from one to the other, we send it. But none of that. We just don't have a separate account, and it's just not that important. Yeah, it works for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for everyone. And Jose needs to rein it in a little bit. I think that you can, is it like his little idea of, we have this account, the bills get paid out of this account. That's fine. That's all it has to be. There doesn't have to be an explanation further than that. Put the money that you need to in that account. The money goes out of that account to the bills, and just leave it. Jose just does not know when to shut up. And when it came to that housewarming, and we got to the point where he was bringing out his board, I can't believe that he brought out the whiteboard with his budget on it. Like, he wanted to show off to everybody, like, hey, everybody, look how good I am with my money. 815. That's right. That's my credit score. You guys see that again? 815. Perfect credit score. And it was like, dude, just shut up. Just shut up. And like, even Jose's stepmom was like, when she sat down with Rachel, was like, yeah, he needs to rein it in a little bit. he needs to get off that horse. That is not the hill that relationship needs to die on. Because outside of that, they have probably been our best couple this season. And I'm absolutely shocked by that. If they can get over that hurdle, I think that they are going to make it. All right, now to our last couple of the week. Yes, it's the same last couple that we've had, I think, every week this season. It's Brett and Ryan. This is our bland, this is our plain, this is our boring couple. And you know what? I think that they're going to make it in the end, but I'm just not that interested to watch. I think that you could just skip, like when they're on the screen, you could just skip past and you'd probably enjoy this season a little more. The only thing I want to comment about them is Ryan made a comment about Brett being high strung. And really, she does not strike me as someone who's high strung. The only thing that I can say to Ryan's defense is that we really didn't see what happened on that flight. You know, we saw the kayak thing, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. There are a lot of people who would not want to mess with a manatee in the ocean. You know, you're in a kayak, you're not comfortable with being in a kayak, and there's a great big ass thing in the water. Yeah, that could be scary. I totally see how that could be scary to somebody. You know, I personally would be all over it. I'd want to be like petting the manatee, but I totally understand the other side of things where someone wouldn't want anything to do with that situation. So, Ryan, no, she's not high strung until we see a significant change in her personality. Like I said, these two are going to make it. They're going to be there together on decision day. Let's wrap up their storyline and just focus on the other four couples. All right, everybody, that's it for me this week. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting. And I really appreciate all the support for these Married at First Sight videos. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.